my name is Andrea Covarrubias, and this is my week 1 video lab assignment. I'm going to show you how to label the microscopic photos for from our lab report. So for me, usually what I do with mine, I have a MacBook, so the way that I get this photo here is that I'm unable to copy it from the lab report. So what I do instead is that I press Shift Command 4, and when I do that, this pops up right here on my screen. Just give me 1 second. All right, this little guy pops up on my screen. And when it does, I'm able to create a box. And whatever box that I create, it takes a picture of it, whatever's inside that box. And then it lands right over here in this corner. So I do that usually of the picture from the lab report assistant, and then I paste it into Google Slides. That's usually what I use to try to label. I don't have some of the same software that most students have, like Microsoft, so I use Google Slides. And after I paste it into my slide, I put an arrow in there. So the way that I put an arrow is that I go here where it shows line, drop down, arrow. Then I start from the outside and I work my way in, and I point to whatever I want to point to, and then it makes the arrow. Usually I go ahead and make it darker by making the line instead of gray to black. Sometimes I do it on white. It depends on if I'm actually inside the picture and the size of the picture that I decide to do this, but I do it to where the arrow is pointing in this side. If I start from this side out, the arrow will end up here and I'll have to turn the whole thing around, which is kind of a mess. Next, after I do that, I usually shorten the line just a bit, and then I go and I click on the text box, and then I make a text box. And then just to make it a little bit easier, if I click on this part here and there's a text box there, there's a purple dot that it connects to automatically. Now the only issue with this is that the text box, if you connect it to the line, if you move this, then the whole line moves and you completely lose your spot. So you have to be careful not to do that. Let's see if I can put it back on there. All right, and then next you just double click and then you type out the label for it. And that is what I did for each of these labels in my slide. It's pretty easy for me. I mean, I don't know if other students do it this way, but this is the way that I do it. And then as soon as I am finished with the whole thing, I go ahead and press Shift Command 4 again, and then I take a picture of the entire slide. Just cut it out to where I would want to do it, the size that I want to choose, and then I insert it into my document, which I use Pages instead of Word, and I have to export it to Word. But yeah, that's pretty much how I do mine in each of them. Sometimes, if I want, I make the inside of the box a different color, especially if it's on top of the slide. That way you can actually read it. That's what I decided to do here, but I think I moved it outside and forgot to change it back to white, so that's what I did there. But that is how I label my photos.